Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Knowledge Exchange UK Professional Development Spotlight webinar. My name is Luke Norman. I am the Head of Professional Development here at Knowledge Exchange UK. For those of you not as familiar with KEUK, we are the professional body for people doing knowledge exchange, and that's taking ideas to impact across the UK. And we've been operating for over 20 years under different names. But what we do best is offer professional development in terms of skills training for a variety of K-related topics and interests. And today we're focusing on one of our courses. It is our Developing Strategic Partnerships course on the 21st and 22nd of April 2026. It's going to be hosted in Birmingham, and today we are joined by our fantastic course directors who will give you a bit of insight into what the course covers, who's it for, and how it can really support your professional development as well. So before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping for you. So this session is being recorded, so if you need to share it with people, it can be shared afterwards. It will feature on our website on the Developing Strategic Partnerships page after this session. So please bear that in mind if you want to ask any questions. If you do want to ask any questions, please use the chat or the Q&A functions in the Teams call just now. And we'll have 10 minutes or so at the end to answer any questions if people do have them. Otherwise, it's all good. So I am delighted today to be joined by our course directors for Developing Strategic Partnerships. That's Amanda Baxendale and Darlene Russell. Hello to you both. Thank you both for being here. I'm going to start, if you could both formally introduce yourselves to the audience and let them know a bit about your involvement with KE over your career. So I'll start with Amanda on this one.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So I've been working in and around the interface between universities and industry and government and not-for-profit all my career, really. And in terms of working alongside and being part of Knowledge Exchange UK, this organisation really has been a huge enabler of my career, right from the early noughties, so I was probably one of the earliest people to go on courses, and really, I've benefited from formal training courses like fundamentals of technology transfer and research contracts. I've attended conferences and informal training like the directors forums. I also then got involved as a volunteer delivering sessions at your conference, and was a non-exec director for 4 years, and now I'm back again as a course director. So the relationship and what I've benefited from Knowledge Exchange UK and the wider membership for me is a real highlight, and certainly for me it feels like it evolves and matures with your career. In terms of my background and experience, in terms of developing strategic partnerships, that was mostly as head of research and innovation services at University of Derby, which included managing the business gateway there, and included when I was tasked with developing and formalising the university's approach to strategic partnerships. And now I currently enjoy a portfolio career, really. So I work for Midlands Innovation, a different kind of strategic partnership, if you like, of 8 Midlands-based universities, but also do contract work for different universities and work with Innovate UK to support grant-funded programmes. So keeping at the coalface of those partnerships, broad range of different sorts of organisations.
Amazing. That's great. So, and on to you, Darlene. Could you introduce yourself and tell me about your KE career?
Yes, thanks, Luke. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I'm Darlene Russell, and I'm the Knowledge Exchange and Innovation Manager at the University of Highlands and Islands. My area within the University of Highlands and Islands ranges from Shetland down to Argyll, so we have a wide geographical spread. Within my role, I've been with the university just coming up to about 20 years, but prior to that I moved from the private sector, and I had my own business in HR and consultancy and training. But coming into the KE spectrum, which was really sort of like, although I've been with the university 20 years, I came in as a business development manager, and then I picked up the academic side with regards to sort of like looking after the curriculum, and then in 2017 joined the KE sphere. So my current role within the university is a broad spectrum of KE. I've got a huge range of activities in relation to whether it's looking after the KTPs, innovation vouchers, working with the academics in relation to sort of like spin-outs and startups, and also the general sort of like day-to-day operational work with regards to knowledge exchange. And I'm also responsible for sort of like the KEUK, the Knowledge Exchange and Innovation Fund, of where we have sectoral groups that are set up within the university. With regards to KEUK, a bit like Amanda, I have been on a number of courses as well. So started actually within my first week joining UHI in the KE sphere in 2017, going back into sort of like an introduction to knowledge exchange, fundamentals of tech transfer. I've been on the essentials of business development and the leadership in KE. And I think what's really nice and good about all the different particular programs with regards to sort of like KE and what KEUK offer is that they are all completely different. They all have a range of sort of like opportunities to take from that particular program back into your workplace and to your, I suppose, to your day job, to ensure that you sort of like put those particular best practices and what you've learned into the activities that you're currently doing. So something for everybody, I think.
That's amazing. So yeah, to our audience, Amanda and Darlene are our course directors for developing strategic partnerships. So as you can tell from their introductions, lots of vibrance of KE activities over the years, which is amazing. But let's start with the title, effectively, developing strategic partnerships. My question to you is, why are partnerships important to grow KE activities? And so I'll start with you on this one, Darlene.
Okay, thanks, Luke. So partnerships. So basically partnerships matter a lot for growing knowledge exchange, not only because knowledge doesn't simply really move, because it doesn't really move or grow in isolation. So therefore it spreads through people, it spreads through trust, it spreads through sort of like shared goals. And some examples might be in relation to stuff like looking at they connect different kinds of expertise. So for example, there's no one organisation that has all the answers. And those partnerships bring together researchers, they bring together practitioners, policymakers, businesses, communities as well. And they all have their own different perspective. And I think for me, that particular mix sparks better ideas and obviously sort of like more practical solutions. And with regards to the knowledge exchange aspect, it isn't not just about that sharing of the information, it's about perhaps using it and knowing how to use it. Whereas in a partnerships, that helps translate the research into the real world applications. So that's about the policies, the products, the practices, and anything that's actually going to make that difference. And I think on the trust element is that people are more likely to engage with and adopt knowledge if it comes through those trusted relationships. And with regards to long-term partnerships, and that's something that I think we'll look at a little bit later on, but is that creating that trust and making that exchange more open, it's making it more honest, making it more impactful. And the other thing around partnerships is that they have their own networks, they've got their own audiences, they've got their own platforms, and working together in that sphere makes that knowledge exchange travel further and reaches people in what wouldn't otherwise reach. And the pool of resources, so that's about the timing, it's about the funding, it's about data, skills, and that infrastructure. But it enables, I suppose, again, sort of like continuous feedback, and the researchers learn from the practice learns from the practitioners, and the practitioners learn from the research, and improving both sort of like the future work and both sides. Really, I think is some examples there with regards to why it's important.
Amazing. Anything to add, Amanda, there?
I think for me, it's when we work in some of these large organisations, we'll regularly get told the usual cliches of we need to work smarter, not harder. We need to do more with less, you know, particularly in the higher education sector. You know, we're really looking hard at resource efficiency, and strategically the leadership of organisations putting in place operational structures like strategic partnerships that incentivize, recognise and reward people moving out of internal silos, perhaps, you know. So again, universities are a good example of, you'll have a careers and enterprise team, you'll have a research partnerships team, you know, contract research, consultancy, all separate teams. But what a business might say is, I want to work across all of those things, please, you know, please bring all your ideas and all your solutions to me, because, you know, I want to engage across everything that you can provide for me, including things like CPD for my own staff. So for me, alignment of, you know, what your big bosses are asking for, and then creating an enabling operating environment of strategic partnerships is really important.
Absolutely. And so one thing to pick up from that, so you were saying about, you know, often universities can have many teams as part of their structure. You know, you can have a research development team, you can have a KE team, an innovation team. And within those teams, you have a lot of people with different levels of experience, especially as teams change due to the higher education landscape right now. Teams are completely evolving compared to where they were a year ago. Within those teams, is experience in developing partnerships required in order to come on this course, or can people new to this world also benefit from it? So I suppose, who is this course for? I'll start with you, Amanda, on this one.
Yeah, so kind of at that earliest stage of experience, if I answered that, I would say that, you know, if you are an absolute newbie to strategic partnerships, or you know, within a sector looking at strategic partnerships, this would be a great grounding for someone who is new into a role. Could also be a good course for a university or a department or a team who are thinking about partnerships as a way of working, and if a more strategic approach could be beneficial. So maybe sending 1 or 2 people on this course, you know, and then go back to base and download and help that shape and inform the way you might do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, anything to add there, Darlene, in terms of the people?
Yeah, so again, just as Amanda said, I mean, there's no prior experience sort of like required for the particular program, but I think it's also the program itself also introduces sort of like some core concepts or something like practical frameworks and some real world examples, and that will then obviously build on skills progressively, rather than, say, for instance, rather assuming prior expertise. So that said, I think delegates who have already had some exposure to partnership working will benefit from deepening their strategic approach. It might be able to the fact of refining their existing practices or learning structured tools that they can apply immediately. So I think really that the course offers something for everybody. However, but if you have, you know, that little experience, there's that opportunity to take something away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I would say, you know, in terms of benefits from this course, there's lots of benefits to coming on national courses through KEUK. The one, as someone who's been on these courses before, as I'm sure you can attest to, for me, the biggest benefit is meeting people and networking from, you know, with people from across the UK who I might not have necessarily interacted with, especially if you're in quite a small team or quite siloed. But apart from networking, what skills can delegates expect to learn or walk away with? So I'll start with you, Amanda, on this one.
Yeah, so I suppose if I focus on some of the tangible skills that you'd expect that very much aligned to the way that we structure the programme of the course, it would be very much about starting off at that basic level of understanding what is a strategic partnership, how to start thinking about drawing out those strategic drivers for the parties involved, thinking about how you might start to identify targets for your strategic partnerships, or where you'd like to see them grow from. Some things to consider when you're building those strategic partnerships. So obviously all the good stuff, but going into these with your eyes wide open, you know, what are some of the disadvantages as well? Governance arrangements, overall management and monitoring, really. So some good hands-on skills, and for people who've never done this before, you know, some good, as Darlene was saying, some good toolkits and things to take away with you. If you're a little bit more experienced, you know, bit of, you know, confidence and reassurance that you're doing some good stuff, you've shared some good practice and taken away some fresh ideas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such a good point about the fresh ideas. Is just, you might come in with an idea of what you think partnerships look like, and then might learn from others that actually there's a completely different way of doing it. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What about you, Darlene?
Yeah, thanks, Luke. And I think there's, as Amanda says, that there's so many skills and so many key skills that you can take away from this particular programme. Around, I mean, some of the soft skills, so as far as communication is concerned, I mean, it might be about the influencing without sort of like formal authority in that particular sort of like situation. It's about communicating shared goals and your expectations clearly, and taking that away from the course content. Handling difficult situations or difficult conversations, because again, with regards to sort of like the wide variety of speakers and their opinions, then there's sort of like you may not necessarily sort of like agree with that. I think obviously with regards to handling those difficult conversations and the different priorities, etc., for everybody is another key skill to take away. There's also about the relationship building, I think, is quite key, and building that trust and credibility with regards to sort of like your peers, and also again with regards to sort of like the different amount of trainers that are going to be on the programme as well, and also about managing that sort of like complex and multi-party individuals that are going to be there. And on the problem solving, I think, is probably another key one, and being able to sort of like the individual sort of like exercises and being able to sort of like negotiate that, and the key skills around that to problem solve the case studies that are coming out as well. So yeah, a wide variety of skills key.
So that is an amazing segue to my next question. So in terms of when delegates come on this course, what can they expect in terms of the styles of learning? Because you know, people do different types of training in different ways. Are they going to turn up for 2 days and just listen to PowerPoint after PowerPoint of lecturing? Or are there some different styles of learning there, especially when you're talking about case studies?
Yeah. And I'll just start, Amanda, if that's okay. So I think, yeah, this course is not, certainly we do not envisage it being sort of like death by PowerPoint. We're trying very hard that it's not going to be death by PowerPoint. We work with a number of different trainers, and all the trainers are very interactive in relation to what they're doing. There's about the other aspect to think about is that the experts, they've worked in their particular sector. Everyone is a volunteer, and they want to develop other skills by sharing their knowledge and their expertise with others, and it's all about this sort of like peer-to-peer learning, and there's different perspectives from trainers, I think, as I touched on in a previous question, and sometimes they don't agree, and this allows for that particular discussion. So there are discussion methods within the particular delivery as well as obviously sort of like case studies and trainer input. So Amanda, I'm sure you've got some other examples that you can add to from that.
Yeah, so I think back to your point, avoiding death by PowerPoint, you know, we really do try and make these things really interactive, make sure that you're having time to think, formulate your ideas, test them out and apply them. So lots of breakout opportunities. We always tend to try and have quite a small cohort. Make sure that, you know, you can really spend time getting to know one another as well. You know, that's another really important element, those side conversations, not just the formal learning. my experience is that I find these courses quite intense. You know, there's that half-day introductory session for us to get to know one another, and then those 2 days are really, you know, varied, exciting, you know, lots of kind of things to break up the day, lift the energy. So as Darlene was saying, range of different people coming to speak to you so that you can get different perspectives of different sizes of organisations, the industry view versus academic view, etc. Getting, you know, different experiences, getting to have a little go and a play around with different case studies, different exercises, and start to build your own toolkits, really, so that you've got some practical takeaways.
Yeah, that's really, really good to hear. And so I'm just going to remind the audience, if you have any questions, please put them in our Q&A. And we will answer them at the end. We've got one more question from me, which I think is my favourite question. It's always the one I like to ask our course directors the most, which is, what do you enjoy most about KEUK courses? Doesn't necessarily have to be this one. It could be one that you've gone on before or one that you've observed. But what's your favourite bit about them? And this time I'll start with Amanda.
So for me, it's about starting to build that community. You've probably already picked up that I'm really passionate about this community. So it is an opportunity to you know, make the most of the membership if you are a member, and if not, perhaps think about becoming a member so that, you know, you can really cement some of those relationships and see people in different settings more often. Again, back to it's not death by PowerPoint, you know, gosh, they really make you think on some of these courses. You're doing some in the moment problem solving based on real actual case studies that practitioners have brought forward for you based on their own experience. And then us all sharing that good practice and keeping that evolving. So, you know, people who are delegates today will hopefully continue down that pathway that Darlene and I have. You know, you get addicted, you get hooked in, and before you know it, you're a course director.
Really great to hear. And so what's your favourite bit about KEUK courses, Darlene?
Thanks, Luke. So for me personally, I think it's about working with some great people, whether that be the trainers that are on the programme, the other course directors, meeting the delegates, of course, thinking about how different organisations work and how that can actually be applied to your own job and also to my job, because I mean, again, I sort of like meeting all the different delegates. There's many things that I take away that I'm then able to apply into my sort of like own sort of like working day. And I think there's something nice about meeting other people and sharing their stories with colleagues, and it's very much sort of like a safe place and a safe environment, which I feel quite comfortable about. And KEUK, really, it's a great community. It's full of people with many sort of like varieties and different expertise. And for us as course directors, we're able to sort of like home in on that and then bring that to our particular programme and share those experiences with everybody as well. And as Amanda said, I mean, it's a fantastic sort of like community, and seeing people grow from when they first walk in or on that first online session to then where they are and sort of like after 2 days, and making sure that we're able to sort of like continue that rapport. To, you know, it's not just about a 2 or 3 day programme, it's about what then happens thereafter and sort of like building that network and being able to sort of like find those individual sort of like group of individuals to then take that forward and to work with them continuously, because I know certainly from some of the programmes I've been on, then I've been able to continue with a network of people, and I'm sure Amanda's exactly the same, that we sort of like have those individuals, and that's how Amanda and I met, and obviously sort of like looking forward to taking this programme forward further in 2026.
That's really great to hear. And it's nice to hear that it's not just a one-way learning exercise. It's nice to hear, especially what you said, Darlene, about taking away experiences and learning from the delegates too, which is, that's the way we always do things at KEUK. It's about a two-way dialogue. So that's really, really great to hear. To touch on something Amanda says about being a member of KEUK, if you are not a member, I would highly recommend becoming a member. You can find out if your organisation is a member via our website. By being a member, you get discounts on our courses, including this one, so well worth doing. You also get discounts on conference, early access to lots of different things, and access to our online community as well, KE Connect, where you can ask those questions that you might be too scared to ask your line manager, and you want to learn something about KE, you can ask, representatives from the whole of the UK. So as both of you said, we are a really nice community here. So if you do want more information on getting membership from KEUK, do have a look on our website. So thank you all. They were some really, really great insights. I'll have a look. I don't believe we've had any questions from the audience, which we'll take that as a really good sign that you've covered absolutely everything, which is amazing. In fact, you've got a thank you, which is good. That's always nice to see. So thank you again to our course directors, to Darlene and Amanda, and thank you to all of you for joining us today. If you'd like to learn more about developing strategic partnerships, or you're convincing you want to book your place, please visit our website and go into the Learn and Develop section, where you can find details all about how to book onto this course. And you'll also get a follow-up email with the link on as well. We also have other courses, such as our upcoming negotiation masterclass on the 11th of March. So if you want to continue the journey into closer working with partners, you can absolutely do that there. Or for those of you who've just started your leadership journeys in KE, you can join our Leadership in Knowledge Exchange course with brand new storytelling and AI modules in there. So check those out on our website too. We also have our annual conference in June, which is going to be hosted at Newport in Wales, which I'm very, very excited about. So make sure you get your tickets while you can and while they're on an early bird discount. But to find out about any of this information, do go on our website at ke.org.uk. We hope to see you on the upcoming course and hope to see you on especially this DSP course. But otherwise, have a good rest of your day, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Luke. Bye, everyone.